Going to believe who I'm with here. My close personal friend, the one, the only, Mr. Mike Matheny.
I've never seen you before in my life.
All right, Mike. We can agree to disagree, but one thing we can agree on.
Get your baseball news at one Cardinal, one Cub, and one beer.
What's your favorite? Vince Hopper?
And the other guy?
JJ?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining us once more for one Cardinal, one Cub, and no beer. No beer. I don't do very many beer corners anymore because I'll go into the beer section of the liquor store and I've done everything. So I'm like, man, I mean, I could do some obscure stuff that I don't know. I go to the liquor store about once a month and I'm looking for something new. So maybe I'll find something in a week or two. So
maybe a Billy beer. Maybe somebody's got one of them in the back closet.
Could you imagine trying to drink that?
Ooh, it'd be like that gum, like that baseball gum.
Here, have some Billy beer and a Topps baseball gum.
That's it. You better have your insurance paid up.
You better, yeah. Do you want to remind you make sure that you like our YouTube or subscribe to our YouTube channel, those of you who are not subscribed, so you can have our information as soon as we post it. If you're on Facebook, please make sure that you like us on Facebook. We don't post a whole lot of stuff on Facebook, but hey, we're there. I mean, isn't that like 80% of life is just showing up? So we just showed up on Facebook because that's like 80% of life. So anyway, we showed up there. For those of you who'd like to get a hold of us, you can send us a direct message. You can leave a comment on one of our formats, or you can use the old-fashioned email, onecard1cup1beer@gmail.com. If you'd like to support our efforts, JJ, who should be supporting our efforts?
Every man, woman, and child out there in TV land.
Every man, woman, and child. That's right. For just $3, $5, or $10, you go to patreon.com and the search bar, you type in one Cardinal, one Cub, and one beer, and you will find us. And your support is greatly appreciated. JJ, how are you doing? We just had this discussion before we started, so tell everybody what's up.
Well, this weekend I felt terrible. My daughter's birthday, they had a party for her up on the hill. I didn't go. I stayed home and slept. Turns out they swabbed me. I got RSV. It's where you can't take antibiotics. It don't do nothing for you. You just got to ride it out. So I got, what is that? Vicks rub all over my chest, my feet. I've been nasal spray, inhalers, everything. Just trying to get over this. So you were sick about a month ago. Now I've got it. Yeah.
I gave it to you.
You gave it to me over the air, slowly but surely. It moved a little slower, but it got to me finally. But no, it ain't so bad. I just sleep all the time.
Let me tell you something. This year, I got COVID, and it took me. I mean, you get over the initial symptoms within a few days, but I'm still having a lot of sinus issues. I still have a little bit of brain fog, and now JJ's sick. That's why you should be supporting us because, man, we show up no matter what.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
I
don't go to work, but I come here. Yeah, they're going to probably have a talk to me about that tomorrow.
We love you, people. We love you.
Well, Brody was sick about a week ago, him and his girlfriend, and we Lysoled everything, cleaned it up, but I guess we didn't do a good enough job, and then I ended up getting it. So thanks, Brody. Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah, those darn kids. Well, did you watch the Super Bowl? That was this Sunday?
I watched the Super Bowl, and I thought it was boring.
Well, I like defense. But I slept through most of it. But Vince, Brody's always got these crazy bets for me to make, and I'll say yes or no. Well, that one I bet on the AFC and NFC championship game, got them right, and you had to get the third one right, which was Super Bowl, and I picked Seattle, so I won. So I'm giving you a compliment here. So I won a total of $225. I'm taking that money. They've already got the projections for the baseball season, how many games your team will win. And I always thought, well, the Cardinals, I think we'll win. If we win anywhere between 70 3 and 77 games. I'll be happy this year. And you said last week, JJ, I'm sorry, but I don't see him winning over 69 games. Vegas has the Cardinals at 69 and a half. And so what I'm going to do is take my winnings and I'm going to try to double it. I'm going to put it all on the Cardinals to win 70 or more. That's all they got to do is win 70 games. That's not asking too much. And I'll have one of those like thermometer looking things where you're raising money and we'll keep track. And all the non-Cardinal fans will be like, crazy so-and-so. And all the Cardinal fans go, yeah, stick with him, JJ. You got to believe. So all year long at the beginning of the show, I'll bring that out and show where we're at. We got to get to 70 wins, and we're talking a cool 450. So I'm just saying, not promoting gambling, but, I'm doing it for my Cardinals.
But how can I put this to still run for office? The Patriots are one of the worst teams. This Patriots team was one of the worst teams to ever make the Super Bowl. They had the easiest schedule in the league. And everything that could go right in the playoffs for them went right. They had home field.
Snowstorm.
Yeah, so just some weird stuff. So I think, Drake May is a fine quarterback, but he benefited from playing against some very weak defenses. And I think what Seattle did was expose him to, because people are saying, well, this is a historic defense. I don't think their defense is as good as it was when they won their previous Super Bowl with Richard Sherman and that linebacking core. But I think that Drake May is at this time a mediocre quarterback who benefited from an easy schedule, who ran into a defense that was really good, and he just looked lost out there. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, because if you go back a few years, Sam Darnold wasn't even that, and Sam Darnold's a testimony. You can stay with it and you can still work on your game and you can eventually get to the point. I mean, he was really good in Minnesota last year, and they just, Sam Darnold, we're going to go with our new guy. And then he goes to Seattle. I'm very happy the way that worked out for him.
It's a great redemption story. I think that's what sports is about. The whole league guy, that guy, he doesn't have it. And then here he is with the trophy now. And Vince, I just love those stories. They happen all the time where somebody's left somebody for just, he's not useful anymore. And then he's comes through. So I just love that.
But now pitchers and catchers are reporting.
We made it through the winter, Vince.
Life has gotten better, exponentially better.
Yes.
And I did research that. And for what I can tell, if I get MLB.TV, the Cardinal games are not going to be blacked out. So I don't have to go get another app. I can just pay for the MLB.TV and watch the Cardinal games. That's the way I understood it. Okay. All the teams that Major League Baseball is taking over are going to have no blackout restrictions. So awesome.
Happy days.
So Kathy and we went to Panera. So I guess that's my way of celebrating pitchers and catchers reporting. So very happy about that. So I guess we need to talk about some baseball. There's a lot of transactions.
Oh, yeah.
And so get ready, people, because I'm going to put the pedal to the metal and just run through these. The Dodgers claim former Cardinal Michael Ciani off waivers from the Yankees. So Ciani's going to have a chance to play for the Dodgers. And I see him as one of those players who's probably going to start in AAA. And he's probably going to see some time on the major league rosters. There's injuries and stuff like that. The Dodgers do a great job of bringing people, filling holes, and staying afloat during injuries. And I see him as a good addition for that. The Padres signed former Cardinal and former Mariner, Marco Gonzalez, to a minor league contract. And I didn't know that he was still kicking around. He had some good years in Seattle.
Sure did.
And so best of luck to him. The Giants signed former Cub, former Tiger Michael Fulmer to a minor league contract. So you're starting to see a lot of these older pitchers signing these minor league contracts, just trying to grasp on. Like Pirates signed Mike Clevenger, right-handed pitcher, to a minor league contract. Recently pitched with the White Sox, had his best year with Cleveland. Uh, the Royals signed second baseman Brandon Drury to a minor league contract. Brandon Drury, see if he can maybe recapture a few things, because he was a heck of a player just a few years ago. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, they've invited left-handed pitcher Angel Perdomo to spring training. First baseman, outfielder, designated hitter, Iron Glove Trey Mancini has been invited to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for spring training. Former Cub Nick Madrigal has been invited to spring training, and they signed one of my favorite middle relief pitchers, left-handed pitcher Brent Suter. We are very familiar with him in the Central with the Brewers and then with the Reds. Ivy League guy, doesn't throw hard, but man, he gets outs. That's what he does. He's very smart and he gets outs. Atlanta invited right-handed pitcher Carlos Carrasco to spring training, so he's trying to hang on. The Rockies invited another pitcher who's on the downside, right-handed pitcher John Brebbia, former Cardinal, to spring training. And they invited former Cub third baseman Nicky Lopez to spring training too. Nicky Lopez, best years for the White Sox also. I don't think he ever made the roster for the Cubs. I think he was just in spring training last year, but he was in the mix for the first spot with the Cubs. So we have a trade. First, have a few trades. First trade, the Diamondbacks trade shortstop Blaze Alexander, who's got a really cool name, by the way,
I like that
to
name.
Baltimore for right-handed pitcher Cade Stroud, right-handed pitcher Wellington Aracena, and second baseman Jose Mejia. I don't know why Baltimore gave up on Cade Stroud. Electric stuff. And this Wellington or Aracena, from what I've researched, he's got a great arm too. With both of them, control has been a bit of a problem, but I don't think Aracena has made it past Double-A yet. But Stroud has pitched in the majors, and he's got this great stuff. And for the Diamondbacks to trade Blaze Alexander and get two really good pitching arms, at least as far as the raw materials are there. I don't know anything about this minor league second baseman, but I thought the Diamondbacks did pretty good with that one. Yeah, that could be one of those things, because I certainly see Cade Stroud being a high leverage guy, seventh, eighth inning type guy.
And Baltimore's got a weakness of pitching. I thought they needed everybody they had. I thought that was their weakness on their roster.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. They could be a lot better. They should be a lot better. And Adley Rutschman needs to rediscover his swing.
He's just
falling off the table. Yeah. The Mets invited former Cub, who went into last year as their closer, Adbert Alzolay, to spring training. And they also signed MJ Melendez to a one-year deal for $1.5 million. Melendez, who played for the Royals and had some really good flashes.
So
I think the Mets are thinking, $1.5 million for him's kind of good. So, yeah. The Twins signed third baseman Gio Urshela to a minor league contract. Big trade that affects us. The Red Sox trade left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, left-handed pitcher Shane Droman, and second baseman David Hamilton to the Brewers for third baseman Caleb Durbin, shortstop Andrew Monasterio, and second baseman Anthony Siegler. Caleb Durbin was a finalist in Rookie of the Year. And I liked Caleb Durbin, and I also liked Isaac Collins. Both of them, I believe last year was their rookie years, and Milwaukee traded them away. And I I don't understand those moves when you got young, controllable players with talent. Maybe the Brewers see something like this isn't sustainable for these guys, so we're going to get rid of them. I don't know, but um, I would criticize the Brewers, but they always seem to make the right move. So they're smarter than Vince. Are you smarter than Vince? Yes. So, Yankees get Max Schuleman from the A's for 3 prospects. Um, we'll have Donn Frizzi on, super pirate fan Donn Frizzi, and he'll be happy about this. Marcell Ozuna signed with the Bucks 1 year, $12 million, with a $60 million option for a second year. So suddenly that pirate offense is not looking bad. Um, of Lau, O'Hearn. They already have O'Neal Cruz, um,
Reynolds.
uh, Brian Reynolds, and now Ozuna. So uh, I they may be one of those teams that can eke out a playoff spot.
And they're
And
starting pitching. They're
oh,
starting 4 as good as anybody else's, I think.
yeah, yeah, they're going to be a handful. Um, I last week I thought, they may be a 500 team. Now I'm thinking, okay, with if Ozuna, and I know he's 38, 39 years old, but if he can park 30 to 35 home runs and spark that offense a bit, hitting in the middle of that lineup, I think they've got an outside shot at a playoff spot.
Vince, the only
Um,
weakness I see them having is outfield. They're going to be able to hit with anybody, but center field and left, right field's kind of short in Pittsburgh, but center and left are huge. And I saw O'Neal Cruz playing center last year, and it's kind of rough.
he's got to get better.
Got to get better.
And if you're gonna switch positions, that was a good time to do it because there was no expectations with the Pirates last year. But this year, now that there's going to be some expectations, he's going to have to catch the ball and run after it.
Yes.
The Rays signed a right-handed pitcher from the Reds, Nick Martinez, for 1 year. Miami signs Chris Paddock for 1 year for $4 million, and I didn't even know he was around baseball anymore. And in one of the weirdest ones, the White Sox are going to reunite with Eric Fetty for 1 year. He was bad last year.
Yeah, he had his best years with them, so maybe he'll find that again.
Yeah, but the week belonged to the Tigers. They just today they signed Justin Verlander for 1 year. I think it's about $12 million. So yeah, he's going to be at the back of the rotation. And of course, the biggest free agent that was left, they signed Framber Valdez, 3 years, $115 million, with an opt-out after the second season. So the Tigers, Justin Verlander was not that good last year, and he's pretty old. I'm not so sure what you're going to get out of him. And he's been injured a lot lately, but that happens when you get older. But so when you can march out Scooble and Mize and Valdez,
Jack Flaherty's out there.
Yeah, Flaherty kind of had a rough year too, but
yeah,
they've got some potential there to make some noise and win that division again.
You know what I noticed about the good teams, and I'm saying the Cubs. It seems like you guys have your 1A rotation, and then you're so good if you get injuries, you got another whole set of another rotation ready to go if you need those guys to fill in. And the Dodgers have that, and I think Detroit is in a good spot like that too. Other teams, most teams, if you lose one of your starters, you're really there's a big drop off. But I think the best teams have that 8 starters going on at any time they could use them.
Yeah, and that's what we've learned from championship teams the last few years. It's a deep rotation. We went through that phase where it was you get to the playoffs, you just have the starter in for, 4 or 5 innings and then turn it over to a great bullpen. Now it's kind of like we want a starter out there that can go 5 to 6 innings, and then we can turn it over to the bullpen. And sometimes in that bullpen, you got guys who are starters during the season, but when you're working with 3-man rotation in the playoffs, there's going to be a few that's going to lop into the bullpen. So um, it's a pitcher's league, and it has been for the last few years. So um, team with the best pitching usually has the easier time stacking up victories. There were 3 obituaries. First, Rick Rennick died at the age of 81. He played from 68 to 72 with the Twins, and he was a backup infielder. Um, and that's about all I know about him.
Me too. I don't
And,
know
and
much
he's
about him.
and he's I know he's dead now, so
He's passed on.
probably not coming back. But this one kind of hit home because this guy's young. Terrence Gore, who played from 2014 to 2023, played with the Royals, the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Mets. Um, he passed away at the age of 35. He was a speedster. I'm not saying he was Herbie Washington, but basically that's what he was for. He was there for his legs. Um, he played in 3 World Series and won 2 in that career. In 8 seasons, he only had 16 hits in 8 seasons. Um, but like I said, he's generally used as a pinch runner. You could put him on first, and if there was a ball that was going to be anywhere near the gap, he was going to score. He was very fast. And that was kind of a shock that he passed away. And a guy who is in the Hall of Very Good, Mickey Lolich, passed away at the age of 85. Cardinal fans remember him from the 68 World Series when
He was great.
yeah, he played from 63 to 79, mostly with the Tigers, and then he finished out with the Mets and the Padres. At one time, he was the major league career leader in strikeouts for a left-hander. Um, he threw hard, and he threw a lot of innings. He was frequently over 300 innings pitched, and the way he threw so hard, it's amazing that he was that durable.
When I think of the Detroit Tigers in my lifetime, he's probably one of the 10 players I think of. McLean and Fidrich and Verlander. Those pitchers right there are the guys I Max Scherzer, but not so much with the Tigers. But uh, he was just one of those guys. He seemed as a young kid, they're like bigger than life. Oh my God, there's
Oh yeah,
Mickey Lolich. Vince, 4 times he threw over 300 innings. Great call right there. You just don't see that no more. In 8 other seasons, he threw over 200 innings, which in today's baseball is the elite. The guys that are in there. And I think I see a lot of the old, like Dave Roberts from the Dodgers. If a guy's got it, and even though the stats may say the 3rd time through the lineup, you got to get him out of there. If he's got it, like Yamamoto in the World Series, they just had him go. He complete game. And Vince, in that World Series in 1968, he won game 2 and 5. And in game 7, he came back on 2 days rest. And in 27, he threw 3 complete games, 27 innings, and his ERA in that World Series was 1.67. And what can you do? We said Bob Gibson against him, and he still won. So you just tip your cap and say, man, we gave you everything we had, and you still beat us. So Mickey Lolich right there, I think him and McLean that right there. And of course, they had some hitters too on that team. Very good team that year. And he will be missed. And then Terrence Gore, you mentioned him being so young. Vince, we just take it for granted with surgeries now. They've got it down to it, but things do happen. I know some people who passed away getting a knee replacement or something like that. And I don't know what kind of surgery he was having. It said something very basic, but
yeah.
anything can happen. So you just can't take anything for granted. You hear about all these players getting rotator cuffs and this and that, but I'm sure occasionally one of them doesn't work out. So, I hate to hear that. And it made me go back and rediscover his stats. 48 stolen bases in that short career, and it was only caught 10 times. And like you said, he was a professional base runner. You couldn't stop the guy. So I hate to hear that.
When I was living in Kansas City, I was on staff at a church that was about 50 miles outside of Kansas City. And one night I got a phone call, said, "This is so and so chaplain at Research Hospital. You need to get here. You have a parishioner who's in bad shape." I said, "Who is it?" And they told me. I said, "I don't know that person." Uh, but, I'm not going to say, "Well, I don't know. I'm staying home." So,
Right.
I mean, we had company. I said, I got to run to research. So I go there and I walk in, and the lady at the front desk tells me, "Yeah, you need to go talk to those two people right there." So there's this little lady just sitting there, just kind of, didn't seem to have a care in the world. And there's this guy that is pacing frantically, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? So I go up there and I introduce myself, and this guy is like pacing. "Oh, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad." And I said, "And you are?" He said, "Oh, I'm the chaplain. I'm the one who called you." I thought, and I said, "And you are?" And she said, "Well, I'm the wife of the person." She was just so calm. So he said, "I have to run down the hall to visit someone else, but I will be back." And so me and the lady gets on the elevator. I did not know her, but they were former church members who had retired and moved south, but were visiting. And uh, he fell and he's probably in his 60s. He fell and he, I guess, tore ligaments in his knee. So they had to take him in for surgery while he was doing they were doing the surgery. He never had a heart problem in his life. He had a heart attack. He had a few heart attacks at the table. And his wife was just so calm. And we got on the elevator, and as soon as the elevator doors closed, she said, "I think that guy missed his calling." I thought, "Oh, it's the worst chaplain I've ever seen." Going around saying it's bad, it's bad.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so I spent like the whole night in the hospital, and I knew it was bad because we weren't getting any updates. So yeah, I'm thinking, ah, so when they finally came out and they updated us, they said he's stable now, and they said we lost him a few times. I thought, yeah, I could tell you lost him a few times, but um, anyway, he finally did recover. I'm sure he's dead now, but yeah, you never know, because he just went in there. "Well, I'll go get my knee fixed," being I took a spill, and he almost died of a heart attack right there. So,
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many different things, and I I've seen some unusual things happen, and you can't count on anything, to be honest with you. Uh,
yeah,
there was a story, Vince. I don't know if you heard about this about Dickie Thon. You remember Dickie Thon?
yeah, but got hit in the head,
Yeah,
hitting the guy
very
by
good.
Mike Torres.
Yeah, very Vince. You know your stuff. I just throw a name out there. I'm amazed, Vince. Sometimes I just throw something out there, and I've done research on this, and I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. And then I say it to you, and you're like, oh, I think it was a Tuesday, 73 degrees. I mean, you paint a good picture
But
there.
there's a trade-off. I have no idea where I put my wallet every day. I don't know where the butter knives are. I, I have no short-term memory.
I think that's great though. I mean, I'm amazed. I can throw something out there and you get that.
My first wife, she would get so mad at me because she would say, "On your way home, can you go pick up some milk?" Yeah, I would forget. And I would walk in without, and
Oh,
she was, she was kind of a hothead.
yeah.
She would just lay into me. And she always said this: "You can recite the first and last name of everybody you went to kindergarten with, but you can't remember to get milk. It's because you don't care." It's not because I don't care. Well, then, after I was diagnosed, yeah, it's your long-term memory is acute, but you have almost no short-term memory. And so I struggle with the every remembering the little mundane things. But yeah, and it's Yeah, I'm on the spectrum, so it's part of that spectrum I'm on. But you can ask me something about something that is in my long-term memory, and it's not just that I remember it. And I bad things that happen where your mind has the ability to shut it down and you don't remember it. I remember it, and it's not just remembering it. I relive it, the emotions of stuff. So you know, I tell people it's a blessing in some ways, but in other ways it's a curse because I wish there were things I could forget about, but I can't. And and it took a long time of finding the right therapist to kind of, this is what you have and this is why you're like this. It's not because you don't care, it's because you don't have much short-term memory. Uh, Hmm. And I said, and what's your name again? What do you do for a living? Why are you here? Why am I talking to you? Whose couch is this?
I have constant. My head's like an opera. I've got so much stuff going on. I don't even know what I want to say next. It's all over the place. But I'm amazed. I'll just mention something and you get it. So, man, that's pretty cool. Well, Dickie Thon, I always thought I liked him. He was a tough guy. He was out there playing hard every day and giving you everything he had. Well, Dickie Thon, and since we were talking about medical stuff, he's 64 years old now, and he donated his kidney to his son. His son is named Joe Thon. He's 34 years old, and Joe was drafted by the Blue Jays. And during a routine physical, they found out he had a kidney issue, and he played for 7 years in the minors, and his condition just kept getting worse. Headaches, fatigue, nausea, and eventually became a coach in the minors. And anyway, Dickie Thon has donated one of his kidneys to his son, and his son was like, "Dad, you can't do that," because they say if you donate a kidney, it's worse on the person that gives it up because your body has to adjust to just managing with one kidney. It's a lot of soreness and a lot of stuff to go through. And of course, I say I would do that for my kids. I mean, you say a lot of things. I hope I would, and I think I would, but I'm not. I can't say 100%. But anyway, it takes a special person for me to give up one of my kidneys. But he's doing that
Oh,
for his son.
I've got 5 kids, and I'd do that for at least two of them.
That's 40%. I think that's a winning recipe right there, Vince. But I think that's great. We talked so much about medical stuff and things going on, and Dickie Thon, and what a guy and everything. I think the world of him. So anyway, that's what's going on in the medical part. But Vince, I always look for a trivia question, something I can throw out there, we can discuss and everything like that. And there's a famous, there's certain things in baseball, the 3,000 hit club, the 300 win club, winning batting titles, all-star games, gold gloves. Well, the 500 home run club, there's 28 members. And the last to do it was in 2021, Miguel Cabrera in Toronto. But Vince, there's two 500 home run club pitchers, two pitchers that have gave up 500 home runs.
Oh,
Yes, there's two of them. One retired. He was the leading home run person. I'm going to give you some clues. It's very hard. There's so much history, in baseball. So you had to play a long time. But this person gave up 505 home runs in 676 games. And this person is in the Hall of Fame. So I'll tell you that much. He's in the Hall of Fame.
is it Warren Spahn?
Very good. No, it is not Warren Spahn. This person here mainly played for the Phillies.
Carlton?
No. Before Carlton.
Robin Roberts?
I was going to say 3 strikes. I'll tell you the answer. But no, you got 2 strikes and then hit one off the wall, Vince. Robin Roberts, when he retired, had the only pitcher. Now, they weren't all in starting. At the end of his career, he became a reliever. So over his career, he gave up 505. But there's a guy who broke that record with 522 home runs.
Oh, that was Miles Michaelis. He did that last year against the Cubs.
He did it in one game. In one game against the Cubbies. Oh, Miles, we love you. No hard feelings. But 522 home runs at 696 games. He won, let's see, he won 269 games and lost 206. And he played in our lifetime of watching baseball. This guy played in our lifetime. And
Not a Hall of Famer?
Not a Hall of Famer.
Tommy John?
No. When he retired, he was almost 50 years old. Getting up there near 50.
Jamie Moyer?
Only one strike, Vince. Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer gave up 522 home runs. How about that?
The reason I said Warren Spahn, I don't remember if Robin Roberts was a lefty or righty.
Okay.
Spahn was a lefty.
Yes.
So I figure you're facing all those great right-handed batters in the 50s and 60s. So I thought he may have given up a ton.
He did. He pitched all the time. I mean, rubber arm, they called him. But he missed about 2 or 3 years to World War II.
Yeah.
So that kind of cut into his career a little bit. But Jamie Moyer, the next clue I was going to give you, played for both the Cardinals and the Cubs. And that guy, when he retired, he still looked great. I mean, he still looked really athletic. Charlie Huff, when he retired, he was using a walker. He was all bent over and he looked emaciated, he looked rough. So, most of the stuff I've got on here, we went over, except there's 2 things, Vince. I got 2 other points. One is, we didn't mention Paul Goldschmidt. He signed with the Yankees. I didn't know if you heard that. He's back with the Yankees. Did you know that?
I didn't hear that. When did that happen?
A couple days ago. And he's going to be on the World Baseball Classic, the U.S. team, too.
I did see that. So
anyway, I thought I'd mention Paul. But Emmanuel Clase, who's involved in that gambling thing, before they had him on 2 occurrences. Well, now, after further investigation, there is a possible 48 more games from 2023 to 2025. I hate to hear this. I'm sorry. It's a part of the game. And, man, 2 is going to be tough for him to beat. And, but it looks like they've got him on about 50 cases of rigged pitching, they're calling it. So, hate to hear that, Vince. This guy was about to go free agent and make all the big money, and I don't know what to say about it, to be honest.
He's probably made over 50 million in his career by now.
I would think so.
Close to it.
He was the top reliever in the game for about 3 years.
Yeah, why would you do something like that?
Well, I always worried about gamblers because if they get involved, they can threaten you. They will do this to your family. We'll do this. There's that element of you better do what we say or else. Like if we caught you want, now we own you kind of thing. So that's why I always worried about gambling in sports or just in anything, because that's a very dangerous. And of course, overseas, I don't know what kind of rules they have or, security or anything like that. So I hate to hear that, man, because that guy had all the talent in the world. But then it makes you think, well, did he have all the talent? Were these guys in on it too? And hey, you can strike me out, and and we'll bet that I didn't strike out or something. It just makes the game where you start questioning things, and that's not how it should be. That's how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah,
I know. I hate it.
I think if you play professional baseball, I would say 98% of professional baseball players love the game. There are a few that just aren't. Anthony Rendon,
yeah.
There's a few that aren't really into it, but for the most part, you play because you love the game. You get paid very well, and I'm sure that a shady character just didn't walk up to him on the street and say, "You want to do this?" He the wrestler Gino Hernandez.
Oh yeah, the handsome half breed.
Yeah, he died way before his time, and he's always had shady.
Yeah.
It's been very cloudy what killed him. But what we do know is that he was making money in wrestling, and he was good looking, and he was going to clubs, and he started really gravitating towards these drug dealers because they had the expensive cars and everything. They had the hot women, and so he got messed up with them. And why he died, nobody is sure if it was, you know, drug dealers that got him or what, because there's all kinds of shady things. But I think that's when you're a ball player, you've got to watch what you do because you might fall in with the wrong people. You got, hey, you want to go play poker? Where are we playing poker at? Well, I got this friend, so yeah, I would pass. First of all, I don't play poker, but or hey, you want to go to the strip club? Yeah, let's go to the strip club. Yeah, kind of people generally own strip clubs.
Oh yeah.
People who, hey, there's a professional athlete. Come on in here into the VIP, meet the beautiful women and everything. And you can fall into, I want you to maybe throw a groove ball the next game or something, because I'm going to put a bet on it. You just got to kind of really be careful what you get yourself around. Because I think if you just live your life like a normal person and don't put yourself in those situations, that kind of stuff isn't going to find you. And so it makes me wonder, what did Emmanuel Clase do? Did he go to the wrong card game? Did he fall into these people? I don't know. But something got him in there because God knows he was going to make enough money. He didn't need that.
Oh. Well, Vince, the last story I have several, but I'm just going to leave it with one more. This is a nice story. This weekend, the Topps 75th anniversary 2026 cards, Series 1 hit the market. I don't have any yet. I think these were the ones people pre-ordered and they sent them to their homes. But in this first series, there's 350 cards. There's some autograph cards, and some of them are King Griffey Jr., Otani, Aaron Judge, and Pujols. And there's a special limited, but just a few, Jerry Seinfeld in a Mets jersey signed cards. And evidently the Larry Davids went like wildfire. People are wanting these cards. So there's a couple Seinfelds out there, and I don't think there's a whole lot. So if you're lucky, it's like the lottery. You open up one of them cards, Seinfeld. I think you can turn around and sell it pretty quick for a pretty good profit.
Oh, I
So,
would. I
yeah,
really don't care about Seinfeld. So
I'd have it. Hey, look at this, Like there's a movie where Jack Black and them have a Neil Diamond cover band, and they actually had a shirt he wore in concert. They had lights on it, it turned. It was like in a bubble thing, and everybody would come over and look at the Neil Diamond shirt, That's probably what I'd do with the Seinfeld card, have it displayed in some weird way. But I got problems. So that's it on my general news right there.
anything happen with the Cardinals?
Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, we're signing some pitchers, some minor league deals. Justin Metello, he had a showcase at Coach K Academy, and he's throwing 96 miles an hour and has this really good drop pitch. He was drafted by Atlanta, and he only got to high A ball. He went there, worked out. Evidently, they have these showcases every once in a while, and the Cardinals took a chance on this 22-year-old and signed him to a minor league deal. We may never see this kid. He may be part of our bullpen in a couple of years. So, kind of remember that name. Another St. Louis signs Brian Ramos off waivers from Baltimore. I think they were trying to sneak him through, and we needed a right-handed bat. And he's 23 years old. He's from Cuba, and he's got some pop. He hasn't played a lot in the big leagues, but maybe see him come to spring training, take a look at him. And Vince, I thought for a minute, Andrew McCutchen is not going to get re-signed by Pittsburgh. It doesn't look like. He's a right-handed bat. He'd be a great mentor. I think the Cardinals should pay a little extra, have him come in and be a mentor and be a part of the team. He probably knows we're not going very far this year, but if he doesn't have a job and still wants to play another year, maybe that's somebody we can take a look at and bring him in. Who knows? It'd be nice to have a veteran because we have the youngest team in baseball, 26 and a half years old. And if we trade JoJo and Lars Newbar, well, man, we will be way down there in age. So it'd be nice to have a veteran who can work with some of these guys. Of course, we have a coaching staff. I guess that's what they're for, but it's just an idea. And the last thing I was going to bring up is the Cardinals don't have any players that's going to play on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, but we have a lot of players in the World Baseball Classic, and I'm just going to name a few. Team Italy, Gordon Graceffo and Thomas Saggese, and I'm a big Thomas Saggese fan. Those two guys will be playing for Team Italy. Team Panama, Ivan Herrera and Leonardo Bernal, who's one of our top 5 rated rookies. He's in the top 100 overall, too. He's a catcher. We've got 5 catchers in like our top 30 prospects. So both of those guys, Herrera probably may not play catcher there. I don't know what he's going to be doing, but there's those 2 guys. Riley O'Brien, one of our main relievers, will be playing for Team Korea. Let's see. Anybody else of note? Basically, Puerto Rico, Brian Torres is be playing there. So that's just some of the players. We've got people on Great Britain, Mexico, Korea, Puerto Rico, Israel. We got 2 players playing on Team Israel, Panama, and Italy. And that's basically it. And Vince, I usually don't say anything about rumors, but there is a billionaire from Washington, Missouri, who's interested in buying the Cardinals. This came out. The DeWitt said, we're not selling. But, I know a lot of the Cardinal fans, not me, but a lot of them think, man, if we had a billionaire, which the DeWitts are billionaires, we could go out there and compete with the Dodgers and the Yankees. We ain't never going to spend that kind of money. But anyway, there are people interested in buying the team. And if the DeWitts ever do sell for what they paid for the team, they're going to make a lot of money. But I like them. They've been here this is their 31st year owning the team. I like them. We're just in a bad time in our history. But if you look at any team's history, there's times where you're like, we've had other people. Every team in our divisions have been in last place at one time or another. And you think, oh, we'll never see daylight. And then we've all been at the top at a time or another, and nothing lasts forever. So when you're at the top, enjoy it. And when you're on the bottom, just know that hopefully this is over sooner than later. And Vince, that's my Cardinal news right there.
Not much going on with the Cubs. They will pitchers and catchers report tomorrow, and I know the Cardinals. I think they reported today. We've already had a lot of players who have been in Arizona working. We've had including Alex Bregman's went in there, and he is working there. PCA's been working, so a lot of players have been. It's not like it used to be. It used to be, you show up at spring training to get in shape. Now you're in shape, and you want to be in a groove by the time it starts. So, just excited about that. We have a non-roster invitee that I'm very excited about. It's our pitching prospect, Jackson Wiggins. He is our top pitching prospect. Last year, he started in high A and finished in triple A, and over 3 levels, he had a 2.19 ERA, 97 strikeouts in 78 innings, 36 walks. Walks is a little high, but when you're striking out almost 13 an inning, you can give up a few walks here and there. His fastball sits at 97.7, tops out at 104. Then he has a slider and a changeup in that mix. So there's a lot of people saying he could be like Cade Horton, because Cade Horton, come May, that's when he was called up, put into the rotation. Wiggins may be kind of the same thing. So it's good to have another power arm coming up, because we've had all these years of soft tossers, basically pitch to contact guys. So with Cabrera in there, with Wiggins and Horton, we're going to start to see some swing and miss guys in our rotation, which is kind of refreshing. So that's all I got for the Cubs. Who else has a good slider, fastball, changeup mix?
Best I ever seen, Jeremy Connor.
Jeremy Connor. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. We are welcoming back Donn Frizzi, and we're going to talk about, Don's going to talk about the Seattle Pilots. He's done the homework on this. But first, we have to address your Pittsburgh Pirates and what they have done in the offseason.
Yes.
Is this the first time you've been excited about an offseason in quite a while?
I'd have to say yes. And apparently the city of Pittsburgh is too, because, the Steelers didn't go far. The Penguins are doing well. The Penguins are really doing well with a very young team. And overall, because you still have Malcolm and Crosby, but no, I'm very excited about this club, and at about high time too.
Yeah.
They really last year was so abysmal to their PR. They had to do something. They just have to.
They tried to get Schwarber. They went after Schwarber, tried to get him in there.
Well, you know what? I think the deal is that they realize they're not going to have. They have the best pitcher in the majors right now, and they're not going to be able to play it cheap with having this guy because they're going to lose him. So while you have him, you better be beefing up your team and seeing if you could be at least somewhat competitive. Will they? Can they beat the Cubs or the Brewers in the division race? I don't know. But I'd like to see him. I'm very, very thrilled that Don Kelly's the manager. I really like that.
And you got Connor Griffin at number one.
We do.
All prospect of all of baseball.
You
coming.
may see it. You may see his 19-year-old self playing shortstop. I think the last 19-year-old shortstop was Robin Yount back in the day.
Baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
About that.
Well, Don, there are baseball fans who don't even know that there was a team for one season in Seattle called the Pilots.
Yes.
And if you've read the classic book Ball 4, that's the only way.
Everybody's read that. I mean, when you're a teenager, when you're like 14, that was the book to where you grew up, because you used to think, jeepers, these guys are excellent and they're clean and wholesome and everything. And then you read about what somebody described as a book on drunken tomcatting. With Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, Billy Martin and everything. And of course, too, he gets pretty much kind of chastised, kind of bounced away, but he's on the club and not doing very well either. I think his record, but definitely in Ball 4, there was a lot about the Seattle Pilots he talks about.
Well, tell us about the Pilots, their history.
Well, it's a funky history. It really is, because this is the second time that you have an expansion draft coming up. And now keep in mind, the National League and the American League were completely different. But the National League wanted to have their expansion draft in '69. I think the American League wanted it in '71. The story with the Pilots, it's just all full craziness. Dewey Soriano was a former player with the Pilots. He was a former general manager. He was a former president of the Pacific Coast League, which is where the Seattle Reniers were from. He played for the Reniers, managed them, and he decided he was going to try to get a major league team. Now, back in those days, Cleveland, this is about 1966, something like that, 67. Cleveland is looking at Seattle to move the Indians there, and Charlie Finley isn't happy with what's going on in Kansas City with his A's. He's thinking about moving to Seattle. So Dewey Soriano gets his brother Max, and he's like, I think we can get a team here. So they contact, he doesn't do for whatever reason, he doesn't do a very good job of getting local help. But he goes to Cleveland and gets a guy, William R. Daley, who I think was with the Indians at that time. And Daley agrees to finance the club for about a 48% stock in the new Seattle club. They decide to call it the Pilots because apparently Dewey had a part-time job as a harbor pilot. So they're going to call them the Pilots. And they look at a stadium, and this is another red flag, as with a ton of red flags. The stadium they're looking at is a place called Sick Stadium, SICK. And this is named after, I guess JJ just shaking his head like, yeah. Emil Sick, I think it was pronounced Seek. He was the owner of the Rainier Brewing Company. And the AAA club was named the Seattle Rainiers, basically to peddle beer, He named his ballpark Sick Stadium because you had Wrigley Field, you had Busch Stadium, you had Ebbets Field. So he's the owner. He wants one named after. Unfortunately, his name is Sick. So by the time they get ready to get the, start looking at getting a major league franchise there, the city had taken over had bought the ballpark with the idea of tearing it down and putting a highway through it. Well, they ended up putting the highway elsewhere. So the city is now stuck with this dilapidated old ballpark. And so, which the major leagues or the American League is like, okay, you've got to have, this stadium has to seat 30 grand. No problem. We'll go ahead. Yeah, we can take care of that. Well, not only was the stadium didn't get the 30 grand until about midway through the season. They were still hammering nails and painting bleacher seats on opening day. They just put the scoreboard in. They literally put the scoreboard in that morning. And so if you look at pictures of Sick Stadium, I mean, it's literally like they just got a bunch of boards and just slapped some bleachers. And it was just a bad ballpark. The broadcasters couldn't see. They had to put mirrors up so they could see different parts of the field. Toilets, the plumbing was abysmal. If you got 10,000 people, the toilets clogged up. They wouldn't flush. And the ball players after a game had to go back to the hotel to shower because there was no water pressure in the showers in the locker rooms. This is how bad this place was. The second thing they did when they finally got decided to go ahead, the American League said, okay, yes, we could go ahead and give Seattle a franchise. You can go ahead, you in Kansas City will get a franchise and you can start in 1971. Well, Missouri had a senator by the name of Stuart Symington. And he was like, I can't have my constituents in Kansas City without a major league team for 3 years. So they moved it to 69, which totally throws off any plans that the Pilots had of getting a new stadium even plotted for downtown. So that's just like they just lost 2 years. If they had the 2 extra years, they would have had, plans for a new stadium, land built and everything. They probably could have stayed. So that knocks them off. Third thing is, unlike the Kansas City Royals, who drafted young prospects and took it on the chin for about 3 seasons until they got better, the Pilots pulled a 1962 New York Mets where they got older veterans, and they figured they could get major league ready people. And these guys were pretty much either has-beens or never were's, and that reflected, in the type of team that they had. So, as a matter of fact, I don't know, JJ, do you know the Lou Piniella story with the Pilots?
Well, what I know is he was actually drafted by them, but they got to know him, and he was a hothead, and they just thought, we don't need this hothead on our team, and ended up trading him mid-season because they thought, well, he'll be a cancer on the team. He goes to this other team, which I think is the Royals. He goes to
yes,
and he becomes Rookie of the Year.
Exactly.
And this is just all these moves they made, and it's just they just fell flat. And we all know Piniella now. A lot of us know him as a manager.
Sure,
that's part of
this is more than both of us combined.
Yeah,
have to watch us find Lou Piniella
him
years
into a Dibble. Him as a fiery player. Who wouldn't want him? You hated him on the other team, but you loved him if he was on your team.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he ends up as a manager in Seattle.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So anyway, they're on YouTube. I was watching this thing where Jim Bouton was basically saying that the ball club, especially William Daley, the general manager, Marvin Milks, and Joe Schultz, were, as a Cardinal fan, you remember Joe Schultz.
Yeah.
And Joe was the first manager, of course, of the Pilots. And he was like, can't hit. And the others were complaining about his, his firiness and everything. But according to Jim Bouton, that was a conservative ball club, and they didn't like those who kind of upset the apple cart, Bouton being one of them, because Bouton gets traded to Houston that year. But you also had players like Steve Hovley was another one. There's some interesting names on that club. My favorite was Jim Pagliarone. And the reason that is because he was a catcher for the Pirates when I went and saw my first game at Forbes Field in 1964, and he signed my baseball. Wow. So I've been a Jim Pagliarone fan ever since.
Amen. I know how you feel.
But they had Mike Marshall they had on the team and didn't keep him. Mike Marshall, he was 3-10 with a 5.13 ERA for the Pilots. But he goes on and he becomes like a bullpen ace for Montreal and the Dodgers. A major bullpen ace back in the day. So, but they had Bouton was like, no, they got rid of the ones that they were afraid of. I think Bouton was pretty anti-war during the Vietnam years. Was pretty vocal about it. Can't be with us, But how much you know about Jim Schultz, JJ?
Jim Schultz is the manager. He Bowden wrote that he was a great guy. He really liked him, but he was a horrible manager.
They all loved him.
They all loved him. He was just a jolly guy. He had like a bench coach that he would go to and say, "What do you think about this?"
Yes.
But he basically was just out there, and evidently owned stock in Budweiser beer. So he would come out, and his speeches would be, "Now let's get this guy out and go pound some Budweiser."
Yeah, evidently, there'd be a pitcher on the mound struggling, just getting waylaid, and so he'd come out to calm down the pitcher. Hey, what do you say? You get these next 2 outs, we'll go pound some Budweiser, and that was basically it. He comes back.
There was one story in Ball 4 where Bouton said that Schultz came to the mound. And sometime during the conversation, just looked at the stands and said, pardon my language, look at the rack on that lady. So.
Oh, even better than that. And this doesn't involve Jim Schultz, but there's a story about how they were playing a game and everything stopped because man landed on the moon. This was 1969. And so they stopped so they could, listen to the radio broadcast of man landing on the moon. So we're in the bullpen, and one of the pilot's bullpen pitchers was like, "My God, how can they be up there so long without having any sex?" Why grasping from man landing on the moon.
Yeah.
Thinking about, and the rest of it I can't repeat. But anyway,
Man.
I mean, they just didn't have a good club, and so they start at the end of the season. They start running into real bad money trouble. They had like about 660,000 people, I think, actually came to the game. So you're not going to be able to, pay up. It was 677,944. They were in attendance. They were 20 of 24 teams. But the thing was, they could not. They couldn't really afford to pay anybody. They couldn't afford to pay the players. They couldn't afford to pay the office help. They couldn't afford to pay their manager and coaches. And the guy had been footing the bill for all this time. William Daley said he wasn't going to finance them anymore. So now you've got a situation to where, you can't pay your team. How are you going to get your team? These guys they're not doing it for free. And plus, two, how are you going to get this team to spring training? Well, this is where Bud Selig comes in. Bud's watching this. And Bud's been trying, and Bud wants to get another team in Milwaukee. Because 1969, let's see, the Braves left Milwaukee for Atlanta in 65. And so during this time, Milwaukee County Stadium, where the Braves played, they were renting out to the White Sox. They'd had so many White Sox games there. And the White Sox have got to the point the White Sox were drawing more in Milwaukee than they did in Chicago. And so White Sox ownership starts to worry, And so, but obviously the American League is looking on this and said, yeah, I think we can get a team in Milwaukee. But what are we going to do about Seattle? Well, the American basically because they were so broke, the pilots go into bankruptcy, and if they had waited 10 more days, the players would have became free agents, and there would only be 11 clubs in the American League. Which nowadays, when you have an uneven amount of teams, you can resort to interleague play. They didn't have interleague play. The two leagues were separate. They had separate baseballs, separate separate presidents. They only met during the World Series. So the American League, they're looking at it like, okay, what are we going to do now? We can't go with 11 teams. So they go and they pay Seattle $650,000 to get them to Tempe, Arizona for spring training. So they're down there in Tempe and they don't know where they're going to play. They just know they're going to be a team. They don't know where. And it got to the point to where you had trucks with their equipment, U-Hauls and stuff like that. They're stuck at a truck stop in Provo, Utah, and they have no clue whether they're going to go to Seattle or Milwaukee. They literally have no clue. So they're literally in limbo. And so they finally get the call. Okay, you're going to go to by it also to them with the state of Wisconsin sought an injunction to stop the sale. That delays everything. So you're literally 11th hour and 57 minutes till deadline, and you don't even know where you're going. Well, finally, they everything cleared out. They told the trucks go to Milwaukee. The American League approved the sale to Bud Selig, and it was at the point to where Bud didn't have time to get them proper uniforms. He wanted to get uniforms that were the old minor league brewer colors of dark blue and red, but he stuck with the Seattle uniform. So he has the Seattle logos taken off the uniforms, has block letters, Brewers, just like like a high school team. This was the original Seattle hat.
Grown to love that.
They had
I used to not like it, but I've grown to love that hat.
Yeah, with the scrambled eggs.
Yes,
yeah.
I want to salute.
Well, they couldn't use those hats, so they ended up slapping an M on blue hats.
And there you go.
Ended up, M. The most bland uniforms in the majors. They still had the Seattle Pilots striping on the arms. And it was, as I said, they literally just, there's never been anything like it in sports before or since. But it's a crazy story about the thing I want to see, to be honest with you, is that, well, let me backtrack a bit. Seattle was annoyed at the American League, and so they sued the American League to get a franchise. American League said, okay, we will make sure Seattle gets a franchise in our next expansion draft, which was 1978. And this is where the Mariners come in. So this is how you get the Mariners. So now you have the Seattle Mariners who came in 1978 with the Toronto Blue Jays. You ended up having in 1970 is the first year of the Milwaukee Brewers major league team. What I'm looking at this World Series is to see Seattle go against Milwaukee, because they are literally the bastard stepchildren of the Seattle Pilots.
That would be great.
Both of them owe their presence to the Seattle Pilots and to Dewey Soriano. You got to give him his proper. He just didn't have the money.
I love the story and the backdrop. If you read Ball 4 without getting too much into the background of what's going on, you can just see the chaos as he describes what's going on with that club.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic book, a hilarious thing. When I was a kid, I was maybe about 9 or 10, and I was at a friend's house, and we're looking at his baseball cards, and he said, here's one that says Pilots. I said, there's no Pilots. And so we're looking at this just bewildered. Where'd this card come from? I don't remember who the player was.
Yeah.
So within about a week, I lived 2 blocks from the library, and this is when I had to go to the library to learn anything.
Yeah.
I went to the library, and I looked up the baseball encyclopedia, and I found the story of the Pilots. And I know I have talked to baseball fans as an adult who had no idea there was a team in Seattle one year that was basically operating on a minor league budget in a minor league park that was falling apart. And this is how bad it was. In today's world, and I'm not just talking about today's world, in the world at that time, if you had an expansion team, you had time to promote it, you had time to get fans interested, you were going to draw more than 1 million people.
Oh yeah.
Without any time to promote it or anything. They were fortunate to get 650,000 there for that season.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and I've seen, the only time I've seen like an expansion club, I I had said the expansion, the 70 expansion was in 77. 77 was the first year for the Mariners and the Blue Jays. Because I ended up going up to Toronto in 78 and seeing a game. And they were playing at the old exhibition park, which was literally an old football field.
Yeah.
And this is where they were just slapping together parks for baseball until you can get a real park. Dallas for years, Texas Rangers for years, Arlington Stadium, which was literally it was an erector set of a ballpark built on the old Turnpike Stadium. So until they got a real ballpark, but I can't imagine how, it was just like there were red flags everywhere. It was just like the pilots were just not meant to be, or they were meant to be, but they were meant to be the Brewers, because the Brewers have been very, very successful, as has Bud Selig with that. And then Seattle gets the Mariners. That's been successful. So it's just one of those stories that it's every bit of history, depending on what you're studying, has that weird quirky moment. Might be like 2 years of just goofiness that, and nobody hears about it. It just goes past it. I just remember I'm 12 years old in 69. So I remember the expansions and the Seattle Pilots, and it was like, I remember as a kid, oh, they moved already? I wonder what happened. Then at 14, I read Ball 4 and learned many things for Ball.
Learned many
Ball
things, yeah.
4. Yeah.
Man. The thing I take away. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I read Ball 4, that's when I found out that ball players were more like my crazy, dirty old uncles than they were. I kind of had them as.
Yeah, high esteem.
Yeah.
The single uncle who, your mother didn't want you to really be around,
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. I'm going to go with Uncle Fred, and we're going to go driving around his convertible. No, you're not. It was that uncle,
The thing I took away from, I did some research on this because I didn't know nearly what you do, Don, and you bring it all to life. But the thing I learned more than anything is 1969 seems so far ago, and it's sort of catch can. I mean, it was like the Wild West. Teams could, it was like Bill Veeck was doing those crazy promotions and everything like that. And then you move ahead to 77, and this expansion draft, it seems like more modern times where they had more time to set up their organizations and, be a part of the community and everything. So I guess in that short amount of time, Bowie Kuhn, when he took over as the commissioner, had it running nice and smooth and everything like that. Where there's
no.
Better? Was it better
on that one?
Was it better? A little bit. That's when they went to free agency. No, okay.
Bowie definitely had some roadblocks. He definitely had some bumps in the road.
Well, I know that's when DH
he's commissioner emeritus now, but
Okay. All right. I did go to Exhibition Stadium in 79, and I was visiting my father in Detroit, and we drove up there and saw the White Sox and Blue Jays. And I remember John Mayberry was the first baseman of Toronto at the time. And I took the dimensions of Sick Stadium, and I kind of compared them to like Houston. Because they talk about the Crawford boxes and everything. And down the left field line, well, there was a pitcher named Gary Bell. And this is what he said. Gary Bell said you could stand at home plate and urinate over the fence in left field at Sick Stadium. But Sick Stadium down the line was 305, and the Crawford boxes are 315. So it was even closer than there. And the dead center was 405 at Sick Stadium and 409 in center field at Astro at where the Astros play. So anyway, it was even smaller than the where the Astros play currently.
It was, this was at the time too. You had like the temporary stadiums. You had probably the worst that you'll hear about is Colt Stadium, where the Houston Colt 45s played. It was literally outside of where they were building the Astrodome. It was single level, and of course, Houston in the summertime is humid, and it's ridden with mosquitoes. And I mean, you get covered with mosquitoes there. It's horrible. Now they had minor league baseball there, but they were called. And I can't remember what they were called. They didn't use that ballpark. They had literally built their own stadium or their own. They called it a stadium. It was just literally an erector set, and it was just a horrible place until they got into the Astrodome. And I think that was probably the worst temporary ballpark that exists. I think it was far worse, probably, or maybe it might be almost even keel with Six Stadium, but but it was horrible. When it was painted multicolored, and when they moved into the Astrodome, the owner, and I'm trying to remember who. Oh, Judge Heinholz, I think was his name, Roy Heinholz, and he basically they asked him what did they want to do with the Colts Stadium. He just said color it gone, and they painted it gray so nobody could see it before they tore it down and everything. There for your viewers, there's an awful lot of things on YouTube with the Seattle Pilots. If you just want to see what that was, and the documentary that they came out with called "The Short Flight into History" was made in 2010, and a lot of the people that were on the club, Goose Gosler, Jim Paglaroni, who I mentioned, they. Jim Bouton, of course, and they just tell you the stories of just that 1 year that they, just that one. And a lot of them, as I said, they were at the point to where if it wasn't for the Seattle Pilots, they wouldn't have played in the majors. There was a lot of that, but it's really good. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that, people can go if they're interested in seeing the Pilots. There's a lot of film.
Well, Don, we do need to move on, but I am going to need your address. Not now. You can send it to me in a DM, because for all the hard work you've done, I have come up with a Ripley's Believe It or Not of the
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We have everything from there's Jim Bouton, ball 4. It now sits on a Lowe's parking lot. The bankruptcy slapping the Brewers over the Pilots, Six Stadium. So I will send this to you. Okay.
Well, that's extremely kind. Thank you. And this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for asking me on.
And we're gonna have you back on. We do our beginning of the season. We'll have representatives from all the Central clubs. And for the first time, the Pirates are going to have a lot to say this season. For the first time in about 10 years.
I can actually talk some, this is weird to see, but it's about time. And I think, to be honest with you, Bob Nutting, who from all practical purposes is a good guy, a decent fellow, he just is a guy that when he bought the Pirates, it was in the red. He said he'd never see the Pirates in the red ever again. That's the modus operandi of how he operates. And I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, good. Well, thank you again, and we will see you in probably about 6-7 weeks. Okay.
You got a deal. Take care, gentlemen. We'll see you.
I want to thank Don once more for joining us. I think this is Don's third or fourth time with us. And
he's one of the regulars.
He's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about, and makes us look bad. I don't know why we have him on here.
We don't need him on here to make us look bad.
JJ, I've got the 1987 tops, the green
Ooh,
one.
perfect.
Yes, like
Green for
Toxie,
good
the
luck.
Toxic Adventure.
Yes. Well, Tom Mache sponsored my section again. He got me a Donruss pack, which I don't know what year this is, but there's a puzzle and cards in here. So we'll take a look at that. Thank you, Tom Mache.
Okay, you want to go first this time?
Sure. What do you think? Let me find out what year this is first before you guess what this is. Well, it's 80, this is 1990. 1990.
Two Hall of Famers.
Two Hall of Famers. Vince, I can't guess because I already saw the first card and you got a Hall of Famer right out of the gate. The one, the only Dave Winfield with the Yankees right
David.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. How about that? Oh, here he is with the Cleveland Indians. Pete O'Brien. I remember him with Seattle.
Yeah, good
Pete
player.
O'Brien. I think Texas too. He played there.
Had some pop.
Oh, Cy Young Award winner. Right there. The one, the only. What a year he had. Mike Scott. I think he was
Oh,
known for scuffing the ball a little bit there.
yeah, I think he bought stock in sandpaper. And
Oh yeah, yeah. That ball just dropped off the table. Uh, Seattle Mariner, Mike Schooler. There he is.
okay, remember
Mike
him?
Schooler. I do. Ooh, I like this name for some reason. Philadelphia Philly, Von Hayes.
Oh, 5-for-1.
Yeah, he looks kind of I don't know, like he's surprised the camera went off or something right there. Checklist. Oh, little Eric Anthony, rated rookie right there. Wasn't there a 50s band?
Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah. I only have eyes for you. I think was that maybe then. I don't know if you're a big fan of this guy, Brian Downing. Right there. I think he muscled up some magical way.
Yeah, I think he was the first person to really benefit from steroids. Yeah, I watched him as a kid with the White Sox as a catcher, and he just had an average body. And then within a few years, he went to the Angels, and he was huge.
Oh yeah,
It
his
was,
sleeves were all up in it. Yeah.
yeah. What happened to you? So,
It's
now
that
I know.
it's that clean California air. It really has
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thing on you.
Makes your body swell.
Milk, a do a body good. Oriole, Pete Harnish.
Oh,
Pete.
very
Yeah,
good pitcher. Also pitched for the Astros.
yeah. He was a good pitcher. Okay, Diamond King. It's kind of a drawing card, and I always like this guy, reliever, John Franco.
Yeah.
There he is. Met too. He's a
That
New York Met.
red, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
very good. I remember this guy that came up with Pittsburgh, I think, and ended up with the Royals. Jay Bell.
yeah. He was a pirate at one time. Then he went to the
Yeah.
Royals.
Back when Bonilla, Bonds, Van Slyke, all those guys. Oh, I love this guy. He was kind of comic relief, and he always seemed to have a job. Rick Dempsey,
Yeah.
Baltimore Oriole. I think he was on the Oriole World Series team with Murray and Ripken.
Yep.
Oh, very good pitcher. Had a long career. Charlie Leibrandt.
Yeah.
There he is with the Orioles.
Braves,
Or the
Royals. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of that Brave team too. He was like the fourth or fifth pitcher. I love this guy. On the '84 Tigers, one of my favorite teams of all time, Lance Parrish.
Yeah.
And there he is with the Angels. And finally, one of the nasty boys, but he's not in Cincinnati here, Randy Myers.
Randy Myers, who pitched for the Cubs a couple of years in the mid '90s.
He always seemed ornery, like he was kind of ticked off. He pitched angry to me.
Yeah. I believe it was him, black belt in karate. You wouldn't want to mess with him in real life.
No. Thank you for hitting me with the ball, Mr. Myers. I'm going to go to first base now.
You had one Hall of Famer. I've got
Hall
the
of Fame.
87 tops. How many am I
Okay.
going to have?
3. I'm going to say 3.
Wow.
Yeah, you're going to hit the jackpot.
Well, I do have the
Oh, yes.
Hall of Fame gum.
Oh, yes.
I've collected enough of these. I'm going to kind of fix these together, and I'm going to make a saw out of them.
I think if you're stuck in the snow, you can put them underneath your tires and get traction. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Let me get these right here. Spring Fever baseball card.
Oh, I got the fever.
There we go. Ooh, pitcher for the Giants, Scott Gereltz.
I remember
Good
him.
pitcher.
Oh, looks like a librarian.
Pitch for the Mariners and the White Sox, Floyd Bannister.
Oh, he was a power pitcher.
Yeah. Uh, hey, 101 victories at this point in his career.
Okay.
Former Cardinal, former Oriole, former Giant, the man who was kicked in the ribs by the entire Cardinal middle infield, Will Clark.
Oh, yeah. Don't mess with Ozzy and Okendo.
I have a Hall of Famer.
One.
Calvin Ripken.
Oh, yes. Yes, the great Iron Man.
I got Urbano Lugo. I do not
I
remember
don't know him.
Urbano.
We don't need those stinking badges.
John Stefero. I do not remember him. So I got
either.
two in there. Anyway,
Oh, John
I like his
Stefano.
blonde hair though.
Yeah.
Pitcher for the Indians. I always loved his name, Ernie Camacho.
Oh,
Always reminded me of the
Fuck.
boxer Hector
Yeah.
Camacho.
Yeah.
The pride of Centralia, Illinois, former Twin, former Royal, former Angel, former Cardinal, former Cub, Gary Gaetti.
Yes. You gotta love Gaetti.
Ooh, former MVP. Played with the Mets, played with the Giants. Mr. Kevin Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's a guy I wouldn't want to mess with. He catches the ball barehanded.
Second Hall of Famer from the San Diego Padres, Tony Gwynn.
Pure hitter, that guy. You walk him out there on a 3-day drunk and he'd get 2 hits.
Former Indian catcher, the son of Sal Bando, Chris Bando.
Chris Pando.
Oh, former Pirate, former Cub. 1 year, 118 for the Cubs. Mike Bilecki.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's a good card.
Oh, so close to being another Hall of Famer.
Oh.
The Hall of Very Good, two-time MVP for the Braves and the Phillies, Dale Murphy.
Maybe one day he might be. One day he might be.
Former Ranger, former Cub, decent backup infielder, Curtis Wilkerson.
Barely. I remember the name.
Oh, this guy. 1 year, he gave up so many home runs. His teammates gave him the nickname Dinger.
Miles
Ken
Douglas?
Dixon, Dinger Dixon.
A lot of home runs.
See, it doesn't have home runs allowed. But yeah, they started calling him Dinger Dixon because Dinger is the name you give for home runs.
How about that?
Here is the color commentator for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, former Royal pitcher Mark Gubicza.
I didn't know he was a commentator now.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. And former catcher for the Mets, Ed Hearn. Now, is he the one who went to the Cardinal dugout and beat John Tudor's knee with a bat?
Well, there was a catcher who slid on the AstroTurf and flew in
Something
there.
like that.
Yeah, and smashed his leg. I don't think it was Ed Hearn. I don't remember now, but I thought it was a different guy.
Okay, well,
think about that for a while.
I like my version of the story better.
Well, yeah, that's a wild story right there. Yeah, that's the final scene of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right there.
Yeah. Oh, what a great movie! I love it.
They're going to have a sequel to it about the Brad Pitt character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he fixes problems for studios, and it's star-studded, and it looks good. It looks good. They had a promo of it on the Super Bowl. It said "coming soon." They didn't have a date or nothing, and then it's just him doing his stuff. Looks
cool.
good.
Oh, I see every Tarantino movie that comes out. I don't go to the
Treat.
theater much, but I have no problem spending the money, going to the theater, putting up with other human beings to watch a Tarantino film. So
I agree.
awesome. Well, JJ, you have a good week. Maybe next week we'll be able to talk about position players coming
Hey,
into camp.
hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey, I like that talk.
All right. Thank you all for joining us.